Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Sasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannabadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopashantaye Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurave Sarvalokanam Bhishaje Bhavaroginam निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् अपारकरुणासिन्धुं ज्ञानदं शान्तरूपिणं श्रीचन्द्रशेखरेन्द्रगुरुं प्रणमामि मुदान्वहं। सद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः Om. Welcome to Vivekachudamani class. So in previous classes, the Guru has described in detail what is anatma to the student. Stula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira. All these things are anatma he sishya. What is anatma? It is not your own self. You are not your Stula Sharira, physical body. You are not your Sukshma Sharira, that is Mano Buddhya Ahankara Chitta. You are not even the Karana Sharira. Then the Sishya's question would be, okay, what am I? What is my own Sharira? For that, the Acharya is starting to answer, what is Atma? That is what he is going to answer. He says in this shloka, Athate sampravakshyami swarupam paramatmanaha yad vijnaya narobandhan muktah kaivalyam ashnute. Atha, from now, then, sampravakshyami, I am going to tell you paramatmanaha swarupam. I am going to tell you the Atma Swarupam. I am going to tell you about what is Atma. Yat Vijnaya, knowing that Naraha Bandhan Muktaha, Naraha, all the beings, Bandhan Muktaha, will be free from all the bondage, and Kaivalyam Ashnute, they will get Mukti, he Sishya. Here he says, I'm going to tell you about Atma. By knowing about this Atma, you will be free of all bondages and get Mukti, he Sishya. So please listen carefully. Here Acharya says, and here the most important point is, Yad Vijnaya Narobandhan Muktaha Kaivalyam Ashnute. So if somebody wants Mukti, what is the only way? The only way is to know their real self. Nanyah pantha vidyate yanaya tadeva vidwan amrita iha bhavati. Nanyah pantha ayanaya vidyate, and tadevam vidwan amrita iha bhavati. Nanyah pantha vidyate yanaya. It comes 2 times in Purusha Sutta. Tadeva vidwan, that person who knows about that. That means Paramatma, Atman. Tadevam Vidwan Amrita iha bhavati. He will become Amrita. Mrita means death. Amrita, conqueror of death. That person who knows the Atma will conquer even the death. Nanyah pantha ayanaya vidyate. Na anyah pantha vidyate. I do not know any other way to conquer death, says the Veda. Here Acharya expresses the same idea. Yat vijnaya narobandhan muktaha kaivalyam ashnute. Okay, from the next shloka, Acharya is going to say, what is he saying? Asti kaschit swayam nityam aham pratyaya lambanaha avasthatraya sakshi Sanpanchakosha Vilakshanaha. So Acharya here is little bit worried. Why he is worried? Because Acharya was telling this is not Atma, this is not Atma, this is not Atma. Your Sthula Sharira is not Atma. Your Sukshma Sharira is not Atma. Your Karana Sharira is not Atma. So the Sishya might think maybe there is no such thing called as Atma. That is also an option, right? Because that is what Buddhism says. The important or the major difference between Buddhism and Advaita is Buddhism does not recognize Atma. In fact, the Buddhism people say, we are only talking about philosophically. Buddhism says you cannot take bath in the same river twice, says Buddhism. What is it? Is a very profound statement. It's worthy of meditation. You cannot take bath in the same river twice, meaning a river is constantly changing. If I'm taking bath in the river in one Paditurai, even the next moment, the water molecules onto which I have taken bath have moved on. And when I'm doing another murukku, I will be taking bath in a different set of water molecule. Okay, if the water goes at 10 kilometer per minute or 10 kilometers per hour, maybe after an hour, I go downstream 10 kilometer. If I take bath, will I be taking bath in the same river? No, it is not going to be the same arrangement because the water is flowing at a different speed in different places. It is not going to be the same. By telling this, what Buddha says was there is no such thing called as Atman that exists. Atman is not constant, but Atman is ever changing, says Buddha. But Adi Shankaracharya asks, hey, you have to have a constant person to say something is changing. I say I cannot take bath in the same river twice because I am there as a constant person. Everything is in reference to me. I cannot take bath in the same water twice. If we do not have any reference point, then even Buddhists cannot make that statement. So Adi Shankaracharya, what he says is Atman is that reference point, in regarding which everything else changes, but Atman does not change. So that is what Acharya wants to say by means of this word asti. Asti means it exists. So Acharya doubted that maybe the Sishya got confused when I'm saying, okay, this is not Atma, this is not Atma, this is not Atma. There is a there is a room for misconception, there is a room for misinterpretation. So he does not want Sishya to misinterpret or to misunderstand that there is no Atma. First he says, just like how Hanuman says, Kande and Sidaye, he says Asti. There is something called as Atma that exists. Then he is going to say what is Atma. Asti kaschit swayam nityam. Aham pratyayalambanaha. Hey, Atma exists. And what is that Atma? Nityam. Atma exists. Atma is ever existing. There is no date of birth for Atma. There is no date of death for Atma. In fact, even the time exists within Atma, Nityam, Aham Pratyaya Lambanaha. That Atma is the basis for even Ahankara. We are thinking Ahankara is the basis for our own self. Ahankara means the notion that the self awareness. Here Acharya says Atma is the Adhisthana. Atma is the substratum even for that self-awareness. And how does Atma exist? Avasthatraya sakshi sanna panchakosha vilakshanaha. Atma is the Sakshi. Atma is that thing which experiences all the three avasthas. I hope we all know what is avastha. This is one of the way of teaching Atma, and Atman is existing here. Atman, when it takes the cooling glass of Sthula Sharira, it is called as Vishwa. It experiences Jagrad Avastha. So Jagrad, Swapna, Sushupti. These are called as Avasthatraya. Atman experiences Avastha, experiences Jagrad Avastha when it puts on the cooling glass called as Sthula Sharira. So remember, I mean, you can imagine I have three cooling glasses, a red cooling glass, a green cooling glass, and a black cooling glass. If I put on the red cooling glass, whatever I'm seeing, I'm going to see everything as red. If I'm putting on the green cooling glass, all the things I'm going to see will be looking as green. If I'm putting on the black cooling glass, whatever the thing I see is going to look as black. In the same way, Atman puts on the cooling glass called as Sthula Sharira, and by putting on the Sthula Sharira cloak, it experiences Jagrad Avastha. By putting on the cooling glass of Sukshma Sharira, it experiences the Swapna Avastha. By putting on the cooling glass of Karana Sharira, it experiences Sushupti Avastha. And when I wear the red cooling glass, my name is Vishwa. When the Atman wears the Sthula Sharira cooling glass, his name is Vishwa. When the Atman wears the Sukshma Sharira cooling glass, Atman's name is Taijasa. When Atman puts on the Karana Sharira cooling glass, Atman's name is Prajna. But what is the real nature of Atman? It is not Jagradavastha, it is not Vishwa, it is not Tejasa, it is not Pragya, but that thing which exists in Vishwa, Tejasa, and Pragya. That thing which is common for all Vishwa, Tejasa, Pragya, but it is different from Vishwa, Tejasa, Pragya, is called as Atman. Vishwarupa Jagarani Swapanthi Taidasatmika Shupta Pragyatmika Turya Sarvavastha Vivarjita. Lalita Sahasranamam says Vishwarupa Jagarani. As Vishwarupa, Atman exists, Atman enjoys Jagradavastha. Vishwarupa Jagarani Swapanti Taijasatmika. Swapanti, dreamer. She is also called as Taijasa, Taijasatmika. Shupta, Pragyatmika, as Shushupti. As Pragya, Atman enjoys Sushupti. But what is the real nature? Turiya. Shupta, Pragyatmika, Turiya. And what is Turiya? Sarva Avastha Vivarjita. The Turiyan, the Atman does not have Jagrad Avastha, it does not have Swapna Avastha, it is not Sushupti Avastha, it only enjoys all those things. It is only a Sakshi for Jagrad, Swapna, Sushupti. Okay, I hope I have confused you guys enough. In order to make things easier, let us go back to our favorite example of golden ornaments. Just like gold, with one name and form is called as chain. Just like gold, with another name and form is called as ring. Just like the same gold, with yet another name and form is called as an earring. In the same way, Atman with Sushupt Atman with Sthula Sharira is called as enjoys Jagradavastha, is called as Vishwa. Atman with Sukshma Sharira is called as Taijasa. Atman with Karana Sharira is called as Prajna. But remember, what is Atman? Atman is like that gold which is present in chain, which is present in the ring, which is present in the earring, but it is different than chain, ring, and earring. The Gold is present in the chain. Gold is present in the ring. Gold is present in the earring. Gold is that common thing which connects all these three things. In the same way, Atman is that common thing which is present, which enlivens the Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, and Karana Sharira. And here, that's what Acharya says, Yo Vijanati Sakalam Jagrat Swapna Sushuptishu Buddhi Tadvritti Sat Sadbhavam Abhavam Aham Ityayam. The first line, Yaha, that one, Sakalam Vijanati, that one which enjoys everything, which Vijanati means knows, that one which operates through everything, Sakalam, everything what? Jagrat Swapna Sushuptishu, that one which enjoys Jagrat Avastha, that one which enjoys Swapna Avastha, that one which enjoys Sushupti Avastha, meaning what? The common factor, least common multiplier, LCM. We are teaching kids what is LCM. It is that number which is present in all those numbers. 3, 6, 12. LCM of all these three numbers is 3, because 3 is present in 3, 3 is present in 6, 3 is present in 12. In the same way, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. The LCM of all these three things is Atman. Yo Vijanati Sakalam Jagrat Swapna Sushuptishu. Here he does not stop with Jagrat Swapna Sushuptishu. Here he says Buddhihi Vijanati Jagrat Vijanati Swapna Vijanati Sushupti Vijanati Buddhi Vijanati, that one which even knows the Buddhi. We know that we have an intellect. We know that we have an intellect. So who is that knower? That knower who knows even Buddhi, not only Buddhi, but Tatvrittihi, even the modifications of the mind. Sometimes we will be looking at the same object happily. Sometimes we will be looking at the same object angrily. The anger and happiness is called as chitta vritti. It's called as modifications of the mind. The object is the same, the observer is the same, but because of the modifications of the mind, observer perceives the object in a different way. If I have a cup of gulab jamun in front of me, gulab jamun remains the same, I remain the same. Sometimes I like gulab jamun, sometimes I hate gulab jamun. Why does liking and hating arise? They arise because of chitta vrittihi, modifications of the mind. Atman even knows that chitta vritti. Atman knows that chitta vritti. Buddhi tat vritti. Sadbhavam abhavam. Atman knows when intellect exists. More importantly, Atman knows when even the mind and intellect does not exist. In our dreaming state, in our waking up state, we have mind, but in our deep sleep state, our mind is absent. But next day when somebody wake you up and ask you this question, how did you sleep, we say, I slept nicely. How? Our sukshma sharira is absent. When we are sleeping, when we are undergoing deep sleep state, we are not aware of our sthula sharira, we are not aware of our sukshma sharira, our buddhi, our mind, our ahankara, everything is shut off. But next day when somebody wakes us up and asks you how did you sleep, we even know the absence of mind. Sadbhavam means presence of mind during Jagrata Swapanavastha, during waking up and dreaming state. Abhavam means the absence of mind during the deep sleep state. Aham ityayam. Aham means I. Even the I-ness, that one which knows all these things is called as Atma. Yaha Vijanati, says Acharya. He explains the first methodology of teaching Atma, which is what? Avasthatraya Sakshi. That one which is the LCM, least common multiplier of the Jagrada Avastha, Swapna Avastha, Sushupti Avastha. This is one way of teaching Atman. Remember, Atman is not like any other object. If you are asking me how to teach, like teach me what a cell phone is, I can easily take a cell phone and show it to you. But Atman is not like that. Atman is our own self. It cannot be explained in a conventional way. So Shastra has got some unique ways to explain. It's present in various Upanishads. Again, the second way to teach Atman is Atman is ever the observer and never the observed. Atman is ever the observer and never the observed. This is another unique way of teaching about Atma. In fact, there is a beautiful, it's a very short piece of work called as Drig Drishya Viveka. It explains, it expounds on this logic. Drig means the observer, Drishya, the observed. I have a laptop in front of me. That laptop is the observed, and I am the observer. I am the observer. The laptop which is in front of me is called the observed, and Atman is the observer of all the observers. I'm going to quote from the first shloka of Drigdrishya Viveka because it's so beautiful. It's so beautifully explained. The first shloka of Drigdrishya Viveka says, Rupam Drishyam Lochanam Drik Tadrishyam Driktu Manasam Drishyadhi Vrittaya Sakshi Drigevanatu Drishyate. All the external objects, my laptop, if somebody cooks, the smell that I am inhaling, if somebody touches me, that the feeling of touching, everything is the observed. Then who I think is the observer here? Just for simplicity, here Acharya says eyes are the observer, because that's what we normally think. Whenever we say I want this, I want that, we normally refer to our physical body. So here eyes are the observer and all the external objects are observed. I here represents the sthula sharira. It could be your nose, it could be your ears, it could be your skin, it could be your tongue, etc. So all the sthula sharira is the observer, and all the external objects are the observed. So when I say the observer is Atman, what do we normally think? Okay, my Sthula Sharira is the observer of all the external world. So maybe my Sthula Sharira is the Atman. That is what people normally think. But Acharya does not stop here. Rupam Drishyam Lochanam Drik Tadrishyam Driktumanasam. Here, even my eyes then comes under the observed category, but it is my manas who even observes my eyes. How do I understand what happens during my, if there is a person who passed away, he still has got his own eyes. The physical body exists, but that person, a dead person, cannot observe anything because manas, mind is absent. So even the physical body is observed by what? By the mind. It happens to us sometimes. We will be walking on the road, we will be driving, our friend will be coming on the opposite side, we will be thinking about something else. Our friend might be waving at us, we wouldn't even notice. What do we say? Hey, I didn't even notice, I was thinking about something else. My mind was not with me when I was driving. என் மனசு கார்லயே இல்ல, எங்கேயோ இருக்கு. We will say, what does that mean? It means our physical body has to be backed by the mind in order to observe all the things outside. Our mind then becomes the observer and our physical body becomes the observed. Okay, how does it work? External objects is being observed by our physical body. Our physical body is then being observed by our manas. So physical body, it plays two roles. It is an observer, it is also observed. Who's the final observer here? The final observer up until this stage is manas, our mind, which is the Sukshma Sharira. Okay, if I say that the final observer is your Atman, then people will think maybe mind is the Atman, because mind is that thing which even observes my physical body. Acharya say, no, 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 wait. Even mind is being observed by something. Drishya dhi vrittaya sakshi. Dhi vrittaya. Dhi means intellect. Here, mind or Sukshma Sharira. Dhi vrittayaha. Vritti, the modifications. Dhi vrittayaha, the mental modifications. Dhi vrittayaha is even observed by what? Here, that observer is called as Sakshi, and that is what is called as Atman. So external object is being observed by our eyes, and our eyes are being observed by our manas, and manas are being observed by Atman. There is no observer of the Atman. Atman can never be observed. It is eternal observer. It is just like, okay, I give you a photograph of a room and then I'm asking you to enumerate what are all the things that are present in the room. We will be seeing, okay, this room has got a sofa, has got a table, has got a dog, blah, 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 blah. What is that one thing which is not present in that photograph but has to be there in that room? It is the camera. The camera is the observer and the room is the observed. We can see room in the photograph, but we can never see the camera in the photograph, because camera is the ever observer which observes the room. In the same way, Atman is the observer of even our manas. Atman is the drik. Drik means observer. Atman is the drik of even manas. Atman can never be observed. Atman, if somebody says, I have seen Atman, it means they have never seen Atman. If somebody says, I have heard the voice of Atma, it means I have never observed Atma. If somebody says, I have experienced Atma, it means they have not experienced Atma, because Atman is the ever experiencer and never experienced. Here the shloka says, Drishyadhivrittaya sakshi drigeva natu drishyate. Drigeva, drig eva, sakshi, drig eva. Atman is always the observer, is always the experiencer, because of which other things can experience, but Atman can never be experienced. So this drishya viveka is what? Is the second line of explaining Atma. This is beautifully explained in an Upanishad called as Kenopanishad. The goal of this Vivekachudamani class is to introduce you to as much as original texts as possible. We have previously seen some portion of Taittiriya Upanishad, and we have previously seen some portion of Mandukya Upanishad as well. Now it is the time to introduce Kenopanishad. Kenopanishad has got its name because it starts with the word Kena, because of which. The question is, because of which everything exists. Explain that to me. Ask the Sishya, and then the Guru starts explaining the Atma Tattvam. That is why this Upanishad is called as Kenopanishad. Beautiful set of shlokas. Yadvacha nabhyudhitam येन वाग् अभ्युध्यते तदेव ब्रह्मत्वं विद्धि नेदं यदिदम् upasate. That one because of which you can speak but have never can never be spoken about is called as Atma. यन् मनसा न मनुते येनाहुर्मनोमतं तदेव ब्रह्मत्वं विद्धि. That because of which your mind can imagine other things, but that thing cannot be imagined by your mind. First shloka, because of which your mouth has got your mouth has got power to speak, but the mouth cannot speak to Atma. That is the first shloka. The second shloka, that thing because of which your mind has got power to manate. Manute, the mind has got power of thinking, but that cannot be think about. That cannot come under the that cannot be observed by mind is the Atma. Yet chakshusha na pashyati yena chakshushinshi pashyati. That one because of which yat chakshusha na pashyati yena chakshushinshi pashyati, because of which your eyes see the all other things, but eyes cannot see the Atman. Yad chakshusha na pashyati, because of which your eyes see everything, but that thing your eyes cannot see. Tadeva Brahmatvam Viddhi. Know that to be the Atman. Yat Shrotrena na Shrunoti. Yena Shrotramidam Shrutam. Because of which your ears has got power to hear, but your ears can never hear the Atman. That is called as Atman. Yat Pranena na Praniti. Yena Prana Praniyate. Tadeva Brahmatvam Viddhi, because of which your prana has got power to enliven other things, but prana does not have power to enliven the Atman. That is called as Atman. Tadeva Brahmatvam Viddhi Nedam Yadidam Upasate. Know that to be the Atman. I hope you guys get that general idea. Atman enlivens all other things. Atman is behind the back of all the Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira, all the observed things, but Atman, that which can never be observed, that thing is called as Atman. Of the observer, the discrimination between the observer and the observed. That thing because of which you observe the entire universe, but you can never ever observe that thing. That is called as Atman. So this is the second way of introducing Atman to the students. Shastra, Shastra employs several such logic in various Upanishads in order to teach Atman. But what we have to understand is Atman. Again, when I say Atman, we should not think of some other entity. We are Atman. I am Atma Brahma. Aham Brahmasmi. Whenever I say Atman, it is my own nature. When if we take Atman as again a separate entity, this is again a misunderstanding. I am the Atman. Because of me, my eyes has got power to see, but my eyes cannot myself. Even our eyes cannot see itself. Our eyes can see everything. Our eye is the observer, but our eye can see everything, but our eye cannot see its own self. It can see in the mirror, but it is only a reflected light. It is not the original eye. But the real eye, eye, can never be observed. That logic is being extended. It goes on till the Atma, the capital I. With this, we will finish today's class. We will see the actual shlokas from Vivekachudamani for this logic, and then we will see a beautiful shloka by Adi Shankaracharya that basically sums up all the teaching. The real use of coming to Viveka Chudamani class is not for an intellectual perspective. It's not for an intellectual, to quench your intellectual quest, but in order to know our real own self. What we are doing is the first part called as Shravanam, that is learning from a teacher. Remember, there are two more parts, two more important things in order to gain the knowledge, called as Mananam and Nididhyasanam. Mananam is to know things without any doubts, and Nididhyasanam is doing constant contemplation of the things that we have learnt. And Adi Shankaracharya has written several shlokas which helps us to do Nadidityasanam. And we will see one such shloka in the next class. With this, I will finish today's class. Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.